Hi everyone, it's Mark Merrill with Firm, Fairness in Reporting Media. We appreciate your patience as we've been away on hiatus for some weeks, but we are back. And lots has happened, as you well know. That's why we're starting off with this right here. First of all, anybody seen Joe recently? And then we have cackling Kamala and the new guy on the block, Tim Walz, the Marxist, apparently, Minnesota governor, who Kamala has tabbed to go ahead and become her running mate. But you know what? We haven't even had a convention yet, folks, for the Democrats, or as I call them, the Deflect-o-crats. Now, as far as Walz is concerned, Mr. Wonderful here, right there, with the white hair and glasses, kind of reminds me of a college professor, or more of a groomed look of Bernie Sanders, if you will. I don't know if that's a big compliment or not. But anyway, his military biography is being disputed by the Minnesota National Guard, which claims that the nominee did not hold the rank of Command Sergeant Major at the time of his retirement, according to Newsweek, and this reported by Newsmax recently. His official gubernatorial biography on the Minnesota official website states Command Sergeant Major Walz retired from the 1-125th Field Artillery Battalion in 2005, but Army Lieutenant Colonel Army Kristen Auge, the State Public Affairs Office for the National Guard in that state, said Wednesday the governor retired as a master sergeant because he did not complete additional coursework at the U.S. Army Sergeants Major Academy. That confirmed by Newsweek as well as Newsmax. This guy isn't all he's cracked up to be. He really isn't, folks. It says a soldier who does not complete the requisite course is automatically demoted, according to Army regulations. Now, Walz's pick by Kamala Harris has reignited all kinds of controversy. Like the Democrats don't have enough to begin with. First of all, we're still trying to figure out, where's Joe? Has anybody seen him? Thomas Behrens and Paul Herr, two retired command sergeant majors in the Minnesota National Guard, criticized Walz for retiring shortly before his battalion was set for a deployment to Iraq when Walz was in command at the time. According to a letter Behrens and Herr posted on Facebook, Walz, who served in the National Guard for 24 years, was selected in 2004 to serve as Command Sergeant Major of that battalion, and by September of that year, 2004, Walz was conditionally promoted to the rank, but by early 2005, Walz's battalion was ordered to mobilize for an active duty deployment to Iraq, and shortly after that, in May, Walz quit, leaving the 1-125th Field Artillery Battalion at soldiers hanging without its senior non-commissioned officer as the battalion prepared for war, according to the letter. This guy should be painted as a skunk. He has no backbone. That's called, as far as me being ex-military, AWOL, absent without leave. You just don't do that against your country. According to Behrens, who also spoke to the New York Post, says when your country calls, you're supposed to run into battle, not the other way. He also says Walz had the opportunity to serve his country and said, screw you to the United States. That's not who I'd pick for vice president. So that's where these two stand, folks. And as far as Joe is concerned, some doctors have uncovered recently, back on July 23rd, that Biden was showing signs of cognitive impairment for many years. It's from a Dr. Brett Osborne, a Florida neurosurgeon who focuses on cognitive function. I think he knows what he's talking about, folks. Don't you? It is medically probable, said Dr. Osborne, that when he took office in 2020, Biden was afflicted by mild cognitive impairment, MCI, a gateway syndrome to Alzheimer's disease, and potentially Parkinsonianism, but not necessarily Parkinson's disease itself, he clarified. And he has not only deteriorated since then, as is typical of those with neurodegenerative diseases. Acknowledging Biden's ailing cognitive status, Osborne deemed the president's decision to step down as prudent. So we certainly want to thank the doctor for his input on that. Now what's going on here locally in the state of Maine, or more recently? You can't see it all in the print, folks, because of the printout that we did here at Firm on purpose. But Maine Governor Janet Mills is at it again. She's saying and putting into law without even putting her signature to it. Sounds like a lot of politicians do this. They go all the way up to the important part of signing things into law, but then they don't actually put their signature to it. Oh, I'll just let it pass, it'll go through. The only reason that happens with Janet Mills up here in Maine, folks, is because the Senate and the House in Maine's legislature are in the majority of the Deflect-o-crats. But she wants to have permanent ban of the Electoral College and go with the popular vote legislation and let it become law. Well, here's what yours truly had to say about it. As a Maine resident and reporter all of my life, speaking for myself, she's a tyrant and traitor to the state constitution and especially voters' rights by getting ranked choice voting into law a few years ago. Now this. Two people also chimed in. I do hope someone files a lawsuit to overturn what she's done, as it sounds like it's unconstitutional. Damn right it is. And one other person later on, after this was announced back on July 18th, Cat Pat said, the state should be sued and lose. This is preposterous. Maine Governor Janet Mills called Biden one of the best presidents in her lifetime. Here's our response. Really, Janet? Seriously? I guess that figures coming from one terrorist, tyranny-laced radical attorney herself to another KKK sympathizer, as in Biden, and the king of cancel culture via mandates and violence against American voters and parents, labeled as terrorists against NEA teachers from coast to coast. I was there, folks, back in April of 2020. Good riddance, Biden. And can't wait to impeach Mills for her violations of the Maine Constitution and closing state offices and putting nurses and doctors and EMTs out of work in 2020. If they got their jobs back or not, we need somebody who gives a damn about the country, folks. I'm not saying that Firm endorses Donald Trump. I'm saying we need leadership, and we need it fast, and we better get it soon. And all of this coming down the pike, as we say up here in Maine, in the recent weeks, right up until present, is absolutely 100% ridiculous and dangerous. Could lead to World War III, but I doubt that, because I think calmer heads prevail. But it could ensue civil war. We certainly don't want that either. Pray for our country, folks. This is Mark Merrill for Firm, Fairness in Reporting Media, and fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com for your input.